Tom Brady's got stitches on his knuckles, a bloody mess as it was described. That's the throwing hand, but he's Tom Brady. Now the spread is 7.5 as opposed to 9.5. Many believe it could even go lower, meaning more in favor of Jacksonville because of this injury. What do you make of it, Eric Hagman?
I think it's pretty interesting because, not that the Jaguars would do anything against the rules, right? But
no,
they're going to try to whack that thumb any way they can, aren't they?
Yes, they are. A little Morton salt, maybe. Got to stir things up a little bit.
Salt. Remember, Fred Biletnikoff used to have the stick-up on it.
Right.
They'll have salt on their sleeves.
Hey, don't forget NFL on Westwood One. I think they do an incredible job, and you can hear it 93.7 The Fan. And of course, all weekend today they're talking about it. Monday post game they'll be talking about it. Next stop after this weekend, it is Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota. So let's begin. 2 o'clock, the coverage will start at 93.7 The Fan. New England is the favorite. They're at home. They have been a juggernaut, almost unstoppable, taking on Jacksonville. Although, again, I'll go back to what Ted Arnaud said on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. If I were them, I'd have much rather been playing the Steelers in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville has a great pass rush.
They're a very physical team. There's no question about that. Their defense is really good. But that said, I mean, I just watched the Steelers put 42 up on them. You know, how many great defenses give up 42 points?
I know.
Which makes you wonder, you know, as good as that defense is Brady and company going to be able to put up 40 or so?
But you got to remember, though, Blake Bortles was scoring at will, and they were really up in a big way. And I don't care how good you are, how much of a professional you are, when you got a lead like that, you're kind of sitting back on your heels a little bit. And the Steelers have the ability to score a lot of points in bunches. I think by the time they realized that they had to start scoring as well and stopping the Steelers, because the Steelers really made a run of it. Now, will Le'Veon Bell be running in the future for the Steelers? He was late today. A lot of people are wondering what's going on. He says, I don't want to be a franchise tag. They're questioning the discipline of the entire team. So what do you make of the Steelers in the early part, just days removed from the regular season?
What a great week it's been. I mean, if you're into the sports media, I mean, Le'Veon has given us something every day this week, I think. What do I make of what's going to happen to him? I think it's going to be a really tough decision. I mean, you know, you would think after 4 years they know him well. He knows them well. It still seems like he delights in just tweaking Mike Tomlin with some of the things he does. You know, we haven't gotten all the information about what actually transpired last weekend, but what is reported is that he basically blew off the whole Saturday walkthrough practice. How does a consummate professional do something like that?
$12 million a year.
You know, you can make arguments and say that his tweets are just innocent and the things that he says in the locker room, no big deal, they're relatively harmless. But when you start showing up your teammates and your coaches by not practicing, granted, it's a walkthrough, but it's the final time you guys are together before the game. Then to show up later than you're supposed to on Sunday for the game itself.
All right.
It's a strange situation, Rob. I think right now the Steelers are leaning against bringing him back.
All right, now let's take a look at the late game, Lincoln Financial Field. This game, of course, Westwood One Radio and on 93.7 The Fan. 6:15, the coverage begins. They will kick it off at 6:40. Hey, I doubted Nick Foles, but it's kind of hard to doubt him now, although I love what Minnesota has done. And they've got Latavius Murray, and, of course, the Eagles have a LeGarrette Blount. But it's Case Keenum's year, and I think it's almost fate, especially when you think about when it's all said and done, Super Bowl 52, the winner takes home the Lombardi Trophy happening in Minnesota.
Yeah.
How do you go against Minnesota?
They've got a great defense. Philadelphia's got a great defense. You know, Keenum's had the outstanding year. Foles is just kind of doing what he can to keep the offensive ship afloat with the injury to Carson Wentz. I think Philadelphia is going to win, actually.
I wouldn't be upset with that.
And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see as many points scored by the defense as we do by the offense. I just don't think you're going to see a high-scoring game. These offenses aren't that good, while these defenses are outstanding.
So what else besides the Penguins getting ready to play San Jose tomorrow night? They had a good game last night. It was nice to see. And again, waiting for Matt Murray to get back, but obviously his family issue more important now, the loss of his father. Again, thoughts and prayers go out to him in Ontario. And his father, very young, died unexpectedly. The Pirates, I got to tell you, again, not that the Nuttings need me, but I'm going to defend them, and you may not. But, I mean, you didn't win the World Series with these two guys, meaning Garrett Cole and Andrew McCutchen. A lot of money on the table. They were going to leave anyway, I believe. So why not at least, see what you got and maybe start weighing other options if this nucleus that you bring north this year starts to click. It's business, but I also think it's good business because better to do it now than basically get nothing later.
Well, why not try to do it this year? Why not add to what you have? You know, you've got a watered down free agent market right now. I think this is one of the arguments that Pirates fans are using specifically related to this coming season, is that very few free agents are getting the contracts they expected they would get. Some guys are settling for deals half of what they anticipated.
What do you make of that? Why?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. Some people are saying it's collusion. Others are saying next year is the big year when you got the likes of Bryce Harper and Clayton Kershaw and guys like that, and Manny Machado. The teams are holding their money back until then. You know, they're going to blow everything they have next year. But I'm just saying, if that's the case, if the market is actually down and you feel you were close enough, why didn't you take another shot at it and go after somebody and maybe get a guy on the cheap? You know, everybody says Cole was going to walk. Yes, he would have. He's a Scott Boras client.
Right.
We know that. He would have gone. What about McCutchen, though? Going to be down in the middle tier of free agents. Who says he's going to get $1 zillion thrown at him? Maybe he has to settle for a 1 or a 2 year deal. One of those, you know, where you have to go prove yourself again or something. I just don't understand the idea of just automatically saying, we can't sign him, we're going to give up on it.
Just remember, Austin Meadows not been there on a regular basis, and there are others coming as well too. And they said that about Andrew McCutchen years ago. Even though he was a young stud, was only 5'9", came out of Florida. Everybody was wondering. And I think we all know what happened there. So you just never know. Lightning sometimes has the ability of striking in the same place twice. I still believe the Pirates have some wiggle room here, and I think by the time July rolls around in the trade deadline, if they're even closer making noise, I think the Nuttings will get out the checkbook. But I think that both Andrew McCutchen and Garrett Cole were going to be leaving town very soon.
Well, they did. You were right. They left sooner than you expected.
That's the first time. The great Eric Hagman, he's got to go back to work. KDK Afternoon News and 93.7 The Fan every 20 minutes. Don't forget, Westwood won and NFL football all weekend long. Sunday, first game coverage begins at 2. Good afternoon.